Hello, my name is Fabian Paredes, and I am a recent Rutgers graduate. I have my major in history, my minor in education, as well as a certificate in public history as well. My main focus of study and my primary reason for why I wanted to go into grad school right after graduation was because I mainly study Latin American communities here in the United States, more after the 19th, 20th century, but primarily I want to work with Chilean American communities because my family is Chilean. But our circle here in New Jersey, as well as various other parts of the country as well, are very few and far between compared to other Latino communities. Um, the population numbers being around maybe less than a million. Compared to the entire country's population, it's very, very, very small, which is why I always found little bits and pieces about Chilean Americans here in New Jersey or other parts of the eastern United States to be so fascinating. But that's where grad school comes in because where a lot of my work during my undergrad years, mainly like my last year or so, focus on small Latin American communities here in New Jersey. There are more resources and more opportunities given in grad school to better work on those skills as you're making more pieces of your own. So, because a lot of sources and scholarship on Chilean American general history really is so low as it is right now, I always found it more challenging for myself to want to jump into that field, but I feel like the challenge is much more worth it depending on where you're going. So that's where I find finding the right grad school for you really matters the most in where your interests lie. Um, Grad school isn't necessary for all, and it's for in most cases, bachelor's can be fine in progressing to where you need to be later on in life. However, I feel if you really have that burning desire to just do a piece of work that you want to call your own and really invest the time and go out of your way to like establish yourself in a certain field that you feel like you're very passionate about, that's one of the greatest motivators to get yourself to go over that extra mile, which is grad school. Um, I'd say in applying for grad school as well, know exactly what kind of programs you're applying for, either a master's or a PhD. Both are seeming like extra steps, like in the sense of you have one that's like the first step, and then one that's the largest. But I would definitely say that you would want to more consult with yourself how much time you're willing to devote in doing either a master's or a PhD right off the bat. Um, and getting to talk with other professors because I knew I wanted to be a professor at some point. I could not really find myself devoting an extra 6 years, even more years after getting a PhD, to work on greater research in that area. Like postdoctoral work is very time consuming, and I would also say, on a point of funding, never do a PhD that is not going to be fully funded for you. Uh, if you're going to be working day in, day out, basically putting a giant chunk of your life into getting your PhD, where it is basically school and work, like your work life balance only revolves around a PhD because that program is very much life intensive, then be sure that's actually funded because most grad programs are not fully funded at all. Masters in general are notorious for not being funded at all. So there are many points where, depending on what school you go to, they either have a good portion of it possibly funded, or you need to apply for fellowships or scholarships outside to support that. Right now, I did get accepted, and I'm going to start in September NYU's program, Masters in History. And with that, because it's not a PhD, you will have to pay a lot out of pocket or with loans. Just know how much you're going to be actually taking out and how much you can cut down the costs depending on what you're able to achieve with that. But in general, you want to try and keep the cost low as much as possible. But fellowships is one thing to look out for, especially because masters are not entirely funded by state money, even as an out-of-state student, technically, because even though I live close to New York, uh, it's still technically out of state. So you will have to deal with a lot of the headaches that come with out-of-state travel, or just general funding that is lost in that barrier between the city and parts of Jersey. So there is that to look out for when you're applying. Um, Also, just knowing exactly what professors and programs specifically revolve around in schools that you're interested in are key to when and where you're applying for grad schools. I would say NYU has the best mix of, even though Chilean American history is very, very small in terms of like actual scholarly resources. They do have a lot of professors that specifically work in modern Latin American history, even like neighboring countries around Chile, like Argentina or Bolivia. A lot of those countries do have a rich history with Chile in terms of immigration. So I found that as like a natural bouncing off point. But in talking with other professors at Rutgers in the history department, I learned that NYU has a really good track record and generally wants to build themselves around building scholarship better. So, in a sense, working yourself to become the future source that other researchers will go and use. And I found that really like amazing in the sense of like I really want to put myself out there as like a really prominent Chilean American researcher, and just better explaining what communities exist throughout the country or parts of the Americas in general. So always look out for just how intensive programs are and what they specifically want to go through. Because not every university is going to work the same in terms of what professors are able to teach you or put their experiences and share it with you in order to better build what you are interested in. So even though these professors don't do Chilean American history specifically, I know for a fact that they have all the resources available to get me close to that area, and I'm willing to build myself up from that point. So definitely always highly recommend looking for professors that are working in the field that you're interested in, and try to establish like a really great relationship with them. Already start talking, see if there's any resources that you can share, and see if you can find any new headway on whatever research you really want to work in. But of course, that's different depending on what programs you're really wanting to work with. Um, I'd say professional experiences as well have kind of influenced me to go into the route of going to grad school. Right now, well, in the past year or so, I have primarily been in close contact with the Newark Public Library. They've been great to me when I did my internship with them last year for the public history program. And right now, I'm working as an archival assistant for the Puerto Rican community archives themselves. So already I'm getting my hands on with a lot of Latino history in the Newark, Jersey City, and New York City area. So I'm already finding some correlations here, some small Chilean pops here and there, but mostly largely like Puerto Rican communities and other Latino populations here and there. So I would highly, highly recommend, if you are interested in working in a particular area in the future, try and getting your foot in through internships or small volunteer positions to at least work your way into trying to get yourself into these positions. Because honestly, it is very helpful in working at archive, because then it gives you more expertise in later working in an archive for your research. So you're helping other researchers get their information while learning the ropes to later find whatever you need down the line if you're ever doing a giant research project and you need a lot of obscure information. Um, in general, with the application process, I would always recommend, if you have a great rapport with a bunch of professors that you really like work closely with, or you had an amazing class with, and you see them like in the hallway and you're always like, yeah, how was your day? Or like always excited to be in a class of theirs because they've done a great work so far. I would always highly recommend asking them for a letter of recommendation as soon as possible. if you are in your final year, or just keeping them in mind for whatever work that they know you can do. That way they can write as much as possible for that letter recommendation, so they know how intense how intense you're willing to work at this potential grad school position. Um, do just a lot of research for what programs do offer, and what specific concentrations do they specialize in that would better benefit you. Also, look at application requirements ahead of time. Don't slack. A lot of ones that have like statements, your statements of purposes, saying like what will you bring to the university if you do get accepted into their programs, is you need to have a lot of time to think about it. That's not really a paper you can write in the matter of a couple hours. It is something that took me weeks at best to really think about and edit and retune. So really, it's a learning process at that point. And yeah, if you are in the beginning of your Rutgers journey, have as much fun as you can. Really take the time, enjoy everything that the university has to offer, join clubs, meet new people, just try whatever is possible with everything given to you at Rutgers. And once you get to your third or fourth year, then start seriously considering grad school, in the sense of, ask for letters of recommendation. Uh, Always ask for recommendations to even like other schools, like what programs do other professors recommend that they know of, any contacts they may have to other universities, and see exactly what you really enjoy. I always found that because Chilean American history is something that's so niche, not many people would try to look forward to, or really think to dig deeper into. But because it always brought me a lot of joy, getting an opportunity to like get little bits and pieces of Chilean American history and include them in papers talking about the Latino experience throughout history here. It's very interesting, and to me, I always found like I wanted to pursue that much more than other subjects. So really take that passion and try and drive it to whatever school allows you to go free with it, and really concentrate it to a strong enough thesis that you feel like extremely proud at the end of it. At the end of those 2 years of your master's, you'll feel amazing in the sense that you have a piece of work to call your own, and make a stake in whatever field that you are really passionate in. Because even though grad school isn't for everybody, for those that want to be the experts of their fields, I feel like grad school is the necessary next step to really get yourself to a very, very satisfying point in your lives. And in a career aspect, you'll definitely be able to make it even further than most, like how you would be before you even did it, your master's. So I would highly recommend it, and I hope for all of you to take all the time you need to think about your next steps looking into grad school, but enjoy the time you have right now at Rutgers. Thank you very much.